Have you ever really stopped to think about the journey your phone took to get to you, or your car, or, hey, even your lunch? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the modern global supply chain. We're going to see how the very digital connections that make it all possible are also creating these huge, hidden dangers, and what that really means for all of us as we barrel towards 2026.
So let's start with something super familiar. I bet you have one of these within arm's reach right now, a smartphone. It looks like one single solid thing, right? But it's really not.
In reality, this thing is a collection of tiny logistical miracles. That amazing camera sensor, for example, that started its life in a highly specialized factory way over in Japan.
And then you've got the brains of the operation, the processor. The blueprints for that were designed in the United States, but the actual delicate microscopic manufacturing, that happened halfway across the world, in Taiwan.
And what about its power source? Well, that lithium-ion battery was put together and tested for safety in a huge facility in South Korea. So you've got Japan, the US, Taiwan, South Korea, all these places, all these parts and companies, they're all tied together. And not just by ships and planes, no, they're connected by something much faster, and honestly, a lot more fragile, an invisible digital chain of data, orders, and real-time messages.
And that right there, that brings us to the whole point of our explainer. This incredible digital connectivity, it's a total double-edged sword. On one side, you have this amazing promise of efficiency and innovation, but on the other, you've got this immense and often totally unseen peril.
So what are we even talking about here? When we say a connected supply chain, we mean this gigantic, interlocking web of companies, people, and all kinds of tech. They all use digital tools to track and manage products in real time, all the way from the raw materials supplier to the moment it actually lands in your hands.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it shows the two sides of the coin. I mean, on the one hand, the upside is just fantastic. We get real-time tracking, insane efficiency, we can reach anywhere in the globe, and it lowers costs. But look at the other side. Every single one of those benefits creates a matching risk. That global reach, that also means an expanded digital attack surface. That hyper-efficiency, it creates single points of failure. And all that amazing connectivity creates all these hidden vulnerabilities.
So now that we see the risks, let's take a closer look inside those hidden dangers. What are the specific threats that are actually lurking in this invisible digital network?
You know, there's this old saying in cybersecurity that just hits the nail on the head. A supply chain is only as strong as its weakest digital link. It doesn't matter how secure some giant corporation is if just one of its hundreds of smaller, less protected suppliers gets breached. That one weak link can bring the whole thing crashing down.
So how does this actually happen in the real world? Well, here's a classic playbook. It starts really small. Step 1, a super convincing phishing email tricks an employee at a small parts supplier into giving up their password. Step 2, using those stolen credentials, the attacker just waltzes into the main manufacturer's network, and boom, Step 3, ransomware is unleashed and the entire multi-million-dollar assembly line just grinds to a halt. And that doesn't just cost the company money, it means the products we're all waiting for are suddenly delayed for weeks, maybe even months.
And it's not just about shutting things down to get a payout. The threat is so much broader than that. We're talking about data espionage, stealing incredibly valuable secrets, like the designs for a new product, or straight-up digital sabotage, just to intentionally mess with production. And maybe the scariest one, counterfeiting, where fake or faulty parts get secretly injected into the supply chain. I mean, just imagine a faulty airbag in your car, all because of one single cyber breach.
This is already a really serious problem. But as we look ahead to 2026, the stakes are getting exponentially higher. The whole threatscape is evolving at a blistering pace.
And this really shows you that evolution. Back in the 90s, supply chain risk was mostly about, physical theft, someone stealing a truck. By the 2010s, with things starting to go digital, we started seeing targeted hacks. But by 2026, we're talking about an era of hyperconnectivity facing these incredibly sophisticated, AI-driven, automated attacks that can search for weaknesses on a scale we have just never seen before.
And what's the financial impact of all this? Just look at this number, $10 trillion. That's the projected annual global cost of cybercrime by 2026. No, that's not a typo. It is a staggering amount of money, a massive drain on the entire global economy.
So what's driving this? Well, a huge part of it is the explosion of the Internet of Things. Right now, we've got about 15 billion connected devices out there in the world. But by 2026, that number is projected to absolutely skyrocket to 27 billion. Every new smart sensor in a warehouse, every new tracker on a shipping container, it's just another potential doorway for an attacker.
Okay, that is a pretty sobering picture. So what on earth can we do about it? Let's shift gears and talk about strengthening the chain and how we can actually build a more resilient future.
The key thing to get here is that security isn't just a tech problem. As this chart shows, it's really built on three critical pillars. Technology is a huge part, of course. But just as important are the secure processes that companies follow, and this is the big one, the people. Training employees to spot that phishing email is every bit as important as having the world's best firewall. So this whole approach is guided by a few core ideas. First is zero trust. Think of it like a bouncer for your network who checks everyone's ID every single time they try to come in, no exceptions. Next up is threat intelligence. This is where companies stop trying to do it all alone and start sharing information about new attacks. So a threat to one company becomes a lesson for everyone. And finally, resilience by design, which basically means building your systems expecting they're going to get hit, so they're designed to take a punch and get right back up again. So if there's one crucial point to take away, it's this. That phone in your pocket, the food in your fridge, the car in your driveway, almost every part of our modern lives exists because of this amazing, invisible digital network. All of our convenience is built on the idea that this network is safe, but it requires constant, vigilant defense from every single angle. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. In a world this connected, where our personal data, our smart home devices, our jobs are all digitally linked into these gigantic networks, aren't we all, in some way, part of the supply chain? And if we are, what's our weakest link?